Hi, my name is Lee Falks. I've taught high school history, government, and economics in the Tucson area for 17 years. In this video, I'll be demonstrating the units I've created on my Moodle website, openbookhistory.org. If you want to try it for free, just send me a message at admin@openbookhistory.org. So on my website, I will click on the U.S. history section first. I have world history, government, economics, and some other classes also. And so the U.S. history class, I'll scroll down here. I have a lot of units about many different U.S. history topics. The history of the Star-Spangled Banner, for example. History of the National Rifle Association. Scroll down. The American Revolution and how African Americans were doing during the American Revolution. They were often transported with neck collars, such as what you can see here. And scroll down here. There's a lot of Native American history on my website about the Cherokees being forced off their land in the southeastern United States. And I got a history of the Trump family in the United States, which goes back about 120 years. And history of Christmas, Thanksgiving, I have up. Geronimo and the Apaches when they lost to the U.S. Army in the 1890s in Arizona. And I got a pre-Civil War unit and also a unit on the Civil War. And the 1960s Civil Rights era, which features Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and the Civil Rights Movement. And I'll scroll down. There's a section on women and great women in American history, including Harriet Tubman and Alice Paul. And then I got a unit on the Black Panther Party, and I'm going to feature this one for now in this video. And let me go back up there again. The Black Panthers, I have, in general, I have a text, at least a text and quiz to go with each unit. The text, in the case of Black Panthers, I got text 1 and text number 2. And I'll open up text number 1. Now, the students can open up both the text and the quiz at the same time. Of course, the teacher can control that or not, but I allow the, it's like an open book quiz. They can open up the text, do a split screen if they want, and have the quiz open at the same time. So this is the text right there for part 1 out of the 2 parts to this one on the Black Panthers. And of course, there's a lot to read here, so we won't read this all right now. But we'll just go back to the quiz. And just scroll back down here to our unit. And the quiz number 1 is right here. So I'm going to start the quiz. I'm going to show you how Moodle quizzes work. They work like no other quiz I've ever seen. Yeah, there's a lot of options the teacher can control. Each teacher can control their own options. And I'll start quiz number 1 here. And it just says you can put attempts allowed. I set it at 3 for now. You could allow 1 attempt, 2 attempts, infinite attempts, whatever you want, whatever you set it to be. And I allocated 50 minutes for this. And again, you can set that to be whatever you want, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever you want. And I will click on attempt quiz now. And it says the clock doesn't start until I hit start attempt here. So I hit start attempt. And I'm going to show you the different types of questions it has. I wrote this for a high school level, and it could also be for easily for a college level also. And the first question is a little on the long side. It says physician Mary Jane Aguilar. It talks about the Black Panthers starting in the Oakland area with Huey Newton, one of the original founder of the Black Panthers. And this question here is okay. I'm going to answer Okay, B, right here. Huey Newton was handcuffed to the operating table, which made it virtually impossible for Dr. Aguilar to treat him in the hospital. And the student can hit check, and they could get instant response on whether or not their their answer is correct. Also, you could have these questions come up in a random order, so the students would get them in a random order. So some students will try to follow along with the other ones and cheat and try to copy answers. Well, when you put them in a random order for each student, it makes it very difficult for them to cheat. And you can check, and this one here, it tells you it's correct, and it's 100% on this question. All right, so now the next question. Now this is multiple response. There could be more than one answer. It says, which event sparked the Los Angeles riots on August 11th, 1965? All right. Now, I'm going to just select answers at random here. There may be partially right, partially wrong, okay? Just assume the student is just guessing here, okay? They take these three answers, okay? Now we'll click on check. And, well, I guess I got lucky. I got all three of them correct, okay? So, anyway, they know right away. They get 3 points out of 3 on this question here. Then the next one, by 2000, the median white family owned 10 times the assets of the median black family. By 2016, the median white family owns about what amount of times the assets of the median black family? And by the way, this was after 8 years of the Obama administration. And this is all in the text. And let's click on 20 right there. And we'll click on check. And that one, once again, is correct. Now, I'm going to get some of these wrong on purpose to show you how this works. Okay, since he was a young boy, Bobby Seale had been beaten many times, oftentimes for no reason. So he later grew up to be a bully himself. And I'll click on false right there. And that one's correct. Next page. In July 1967, when the local police were unable to contain the black rebellion in Detroit, how did the mayor and the governor react? Select one or more. They asked President Lyndon Johnson to send in the U.S. Army. Okay, they introduced a bill in the state legislature to provide blacks with better jobs and education. Well, this may be incorrect, but I'm going to click it anyway just to show you how this testing system works. And we'll click on this one here and this one. And I'll click on check. And now it tells them right away that they selected too many options. It's not that many. It tells you which one is wrong, okay? So here we could deselect this one here. They did not introduce a bill in the state legislature to provide blacks with better jobs and education. And now this time they know they're going to have it 100% right. So even when they get the question wrong, when the question is over, they're going to have it. They're going to know the answer in the end. However, they're not going to get full credit for it, because when I hit check, again, now it says that all three are correct, okay? But still, it did not give them full credit. Okay, so it only gives them 1.33 out of 2, which is 2/3. They get 2/3 credit for this one, which is like 66% on this question. Not the same as 100% if they got it right the first time. But the important thing is, even if they get it wrong, they will know the correct answer immediately after the question. So there's no need for a quiz review or anything like that. Okay? And now, question number 6. Inspired by Black Power, emboldened by the ghetto rebellions, many draft resistors saw themselves as subjects of empire who sought self-determination, much like the Vietnamese. Why did the Black Panthers identify more with the Vietnamese victims of the U.S. invasion than they did with the white U.S. soldiers? Because they felt the Vietnamese were invading the U.S. and taking land away from both black and white Americans. Okay, well, we'll click this one here, B, because like the Vietnamese, they saw themselves as victims of white war and militancy. And we'll check this one again, and we'll see we got that correct. So they got 100% on that one, and we'll move on to the next one. Although the Black Panther Party only technically existed for only 4 years, what impact did it ultimately have on affecting social policy in the U.S. which would benefit African Americans. Select one or more. The movement was weak and had very little support from African Americans. Okay, repeal of the Vietnam War draft. Yeah, it did affect that one. Increased social programs such as educational assistance, food, and health care. Okay, we'll click that one. And also the Black Panther influence on social policy in the United States affected affirmative action, the assurance that blacks would gain more access to jobs. And we'll check right here. And it said all three are correct, so they get 2 out of 2 on this one. This question's worth 2 points, so they got 100% on this question since they got it all correct on the first try. All right, so now question number 8. Words that describe how when one nation or race of people uses its military to invade and take control of another nation and or race, oftentimes a country that's unable to militarily defend itself against the stronger power. Okay, now one word that would describe that would be imperialism, another colonialism. Now let's just suppose they select them all. A lot of students figure that, oh, I'll just select them all and I'm bound to hit the right answer. Well, what's going to happen if they do that? Select them all. Well, you can see 2 of them are correct, the imperialism and colonialism, and they'll know this right away. But these other 2 were incorrect. Okay, now they can take a second chance at this question and they could deselect this one and this one because now they know they're going to have the right answer when they hit check again. But it gives them partial credit. They got half credit. You can see right here, you got 1 out of 2. So they got 50% on this question, which is better than 0%. You know, if you just tell them they got it wrong, they get 0%, while they learned nothing. They still don't know the answer when the question's over. But this guarantees that they know every answer at the end of the quiz. At the same time, they get 50% on this question here. Okay, whereas the student who selected this the first time would get 100% on this question. Okay, so we'll go to the next page here. Okay, now this one here. I wrote all these quizzes myself, and they come in multiple choice, true, false, come in matching, and fill in the word, blank words, and match each with the best response. The arbitrary beatings filled him with a rage for which he had few outlets. They also meant he had little to fear from fights. He had already tasted the worst. Rather than become a bully himself from an early age, he started to stand up for the little guy. And this one here, click Bobby Seale. All this information is in the text. Might seem like a difficult quiz, but if they read the entire text, then it's a pretty easy quiz if they read it. If they don't read it, they're going to find it difficult. So, all right. Okay, now the daughter of a college professor, an honor student in American schools abroad, completed a government internship in Washington, D.C. Her experiences as a young black woman growing up in Alabama in the 1950s made her want to challenge injustice. I'll put Kathleen Neal for that one. The Black Panther chief of staff who took the stage at Golden Gate Park in San Francisco at the West Coast mobilization against the Vietnam War and threatened to kill President Richard Nixon in 1969. As the senior Panther leader not in prison or exile, he was newly in charge of the National Party, having taken over after Bobby Seale was arrested and jailed. Okay, so we'll pick this one here. Pick David Hilliard. And the Black Panther founder who advocated politics of armed self-defense against the police. He was often photographed on his wicker throne. And we'll put Huey Newton for that one. A brilliant writer, an eloquently lucid speaker, as well as a tremendously handsome and magnetic person, but who referred to himself as a convict. So Eldridge Cleaver for that one. And we'll check it. And as you can see by the 5 green check marks, all 5 of those were correct. So we'll move on to the next one. During the 1967 riots in many cities across the U.S., African Americans commonly viewed the police as what? Community members who are mostly black, a symbol of white power, offering protection for white citizens while oppressing blacks with impunity. Select that one. Overstepping their power, which triggered the rebellions. And we'll click now on the first attempt. If we get both these correct, we will get 100%. And they did. They got 100% right here, 2 out of 2. As I made this question worth 2 points, you can make it worth 1 point, 2 points, 3 points, whatever you want. Each question could have a varying amount of point total. And of course, the computer grades the whole thing, so the grading is easy, it's instantaneous. And usually by the end of the period, I display the entire class knows their score on the quiz. I mean, not usually, but always. And now this one here is fill in the blanks, okay? Despite the absence of formal racial subordination, the election of a what president and broad proclamations of post-racial era, racial inequality has, okay, let's put these answers in here. Racial inequality has expanded in recent decades. Since 1970, the prison population of the United States has, it says in the text, we'll put quintupled. Again, I encourage an open book quiz where if they're not sure of the answer, they can go read the text and make sure they get it right. To me, getting it right is more important than saying, like, you're wrong, and they don't learn anything. You make sure even the ones who don't know it, they end up getting it right. Even if they get 50% on the quiz, they're still going to know every answer at the end of the quiz. Black people suffer blank times the rate of incarceration as whites. Okay, and we'll put 7 there. Young black men are blank how many times more likely than young white men to be killed by police? And I'll put 21 there. As Michelle Alexander observes in the new Jim Crow, there are more black people under carceral control today than there were blank in 1850. Yeah, more blacks are in jail today than there were slaves in 1850. And we'll click on check. Now, they don't have to click check after every question. I like to do it just so I want to know, like if I'm the student, I want to know if I got them right or wrong. Now here, all 6 were correct. You can tell by they know right off the bat they got all 6 correct by the 6 check marks. And also it says they got 100% on this question. Okay, so we're not going to do the whole quiz. We'll just do one more. Okay, one more question. In the early morning of April 1st, 1967, in North Richmond, California, that's in the Oakland area, Mel Brunkhorst shot Denzel Dowell, black and unarmed. Okay, so let's do the first one here. And we'll put Deputy Sheriff Mel Brunkhorst, unarmed, in the back and head as he ran away. Dowell was left bleeding without medical attention and died lying in the street. His mother proclaimed, "The police murdered my son." After 30 minutes of deliberation, the coroner's inquest found justifiable homicide, and the state blank declined to investigate further or try Brunkhorst for any crime. The year was 1967. We would not know Denzel Dowell's name if not for the Black Panther Party. By the time of Dowell's death, the civil rights movement had violently dismantled legal segregation, but whites maintained many forms of racial privilege. Most black people continued to live impoverished in segregated communities, excluded from the middle class. Black people enjoyed little electoral representation, little blank. And we'll put access to elite higher education. And black communities were mostly policed by whites, often brutally. Politicians worked within and sometimes intentionally leveraged these institutionalized racial divides to win and maintain power. Traditional civil rights organizations had little to offer Dowell's family. Many movement activists had come to recognize the limits of civil rights politics 3 years earlier when blank had tricked his allies from the movement. And we'll put President Lyndon Johnson into participating into a faux or fake negotiation while he seated the exclusionary white racist delegation at the Democratic National Convention in Atlantic City, New Jersey. As with many politicians, Johnson's power rested in part on what? Mississippi political institutions immune to the pressure of civil rights action. With redress unavailable from traditional civil rights organizations, the Dowell family sought assistance from the Black Panther Party. Okay, so I think I just made selected 9 in this fill in the blanks question. And we'll click on check here. And it says we got 7 out of 9 correct. Okay, so there's 2 of them incorrect. And Johnson's power rested in part on. Now, so far they got 7 out of 9, which is 77% on this question. Now, let's say they want to get 100%, which a lot of students do. Okay, so this one here, we change this to Mississippi. So we transpose these, and we'll change this to racist. Okay, now we'll check it again. Okay, now they got all 9 correct. So now they know they got all 9 correct. That gives them some reassurance, peace of mind that they learned everything in this question here. And this one counts for 9 points, this question, 1 point for each answer. And it says they got 9 out of 9 right here, but they only get credit for 7 out of 9 because when they have to take a second guess, they don't get credit for that, but they do know the answer. And again, that's the way you could program the computer to behave exactly as you want to. That's the way I choose to do mine. If you do your quizzes, you could do them a little differently. You could be tougher than me, you could be easier than me, or the same, based on whatever you put in the settings for each question. And now, since I wanted to try to keep this video to 20 minutes, and it looks like we've already gone over 20 minutes, we're not going to finish this quiz. So right now we're just going to go next page. And I'm just going to click, I'll just click something at random just to finish this up here. Okay, I'll just leave it blank. Okay, and we'll go next page. So obviously the score is going to be low in this quiz. We're not going to finish it. It might take 30 or 40 minutes to finish this quiz in real life. And go finish it. There's a total of 17 questions. We got about 2/3 of it done. So most students will do this in anywhere between 30 to 50 minutes. And it shows that it gives them the every question, whether or not they got it correct. So we did 12 out of 17 questions. And now we could return and finish it, but right now we're just going to finish this. So we put 20 minutes into the quiz. They got 30 minutes left, but we're going to just finish this all right now. So the score is going to be kind of bad, but because 1/3 of the quiz we didn't take. We'll do submit all and finish. The student must hit submit all and finish, because if they don't, the teacher will never get it. And it says, well, even though we missed the last 5 questions, we still passed it, 71%. So we got 35.59 out of 50. And the computer grades that exactly right to the nearest 100th of a point. Rounds off 71%, so they know they got 71%. Most students are happy with that. They got a C on the quiz. And that's about it. And so if you'd like to try this website for free, you could write your own quizzes, put them in there. You could post your own text. You could use my existing units. I put about 5 years into this website, and I got a pretty large volume of history and government. But of course, history, there's infinite stuff you could talk about. So I already have it. It's a very complete website, or not totally complete, but it's got a very good variety of different units from American history going back 300 years or more. And if you want to try this website for free, you could just send me a message at admin@openbookhistory.org. I'll just make this a little bigger here so you can see it. My name is Lee, and I'll just put my name right here, Lee. Send me a message at admin@openbookhistory.org, and I can let you try it for free very soon. So please go ahead and do that. Thank you for your time, and if you're interested, you can check out my other videos. And I'll even put my last name right here. So if you're on YouTube, you can find my videos under Lee Falks right here. All right, and thank you very much. Goodbye.